So now that the draft is over, I got one thing to say to Eagle fans. You ready to go back to back? Dallas still stinks. You're my new kick Dingbat here, and what a draft weekend! What a draft! That's what I'm talking about. The Eagles are now primed to go back to back, no doubt about it, because this draft, they did exactly what they had to do. Matter of fact, they did more than they had to do. And now this team is sitting pretty, headed into the regular season eventually when it gets here. I think they're primed to go back to back and win another championship. Not only that, they're set up for the draft next year. What a draft. No doubt about it. And I know you have probably seen, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 200 videos on the Eagles, who they've drafted, the specific players, all that stuff. And I don't want to keep going through all that stuff with you guys because I know you've seen a lot of it. What I'll say in this video is I'm going to tell you why I think this draft was perfect and why this draft will benefit this team next year. Because to me, it's not just about 3-4 years down the road. I mean, the draft always means that in some way, but I think this team's window is open right now, okay? They're open to win it again. And the first thing we're going to start off with is this. Let's look at the undrafted free agent players the Eagles have reportedly signed so far, okay? And we'll get into these guys in specifics as we get confirmation of who these guys are and as this thing fills out. But let's see. Darius Cooper, wide receiver. Taylor Morin from Wake Forest. Now, apparently he's a punt returner. Think Brit, Crash Test Covey. We're getting that. Lance Dixon, linebacker, safety, Maxon Hook. Now, Maxon Hook apparently was Quinyon Mitchell's best friend. I think he also his roommate. So he comes in. Montrell Johnson, running back. Rutgers Holland Pierce. Now, I believe Holland Pierce is 6'8", 350 pounds. Man, Stoutland is going to have a field day with him. Brandon Johnson. Then you have Central Arkansas running back, and this may be my favorite signing so far because this is a quick back. Now he's undersized, but he's fast. Shunderick Powell, running back. I love it. The Eagles got 2 running backs undrafted since they didn't really draft one, and then you have Texas A&M cornerback B.J. Mays. So those are your undrafted guys so far, and to me, we'll learn more about those guys, and we'll see who else they add because I don't think they're done yet. Okay, now as far as this draft goes, I think for the most part, day one, every Eagle fan loved the pick. Okay, but once you got into day 2, you had some people veer off. Some people thought that the second round pick wasn't a good pick. The Eagles didn't do enough, and we sat too much and let things go by. Now, I usually like the Eagles to be very, very, very aggressive in the draft, and I don't think they were super aggressive in this draft, but it was for good reason. And how he spoke of it after day 1 of the draft, he said basically this, that they didn't think there's a ton of talent in this draft. Basically is what he's saying. There wasn't a lot, and they didn't want to go spend draft picks, especially next year's draft picks, when they know that next year's draft is going to be a lot different. It's going to be a much deeper, much more talented draft. So they didn't want to draft guys in the 3rd round that they have a 5th round grade on. It's basically what he's saying. So the Eagles weren't going to do anything where they traded up, let's say, to get Nick Amenwori, and then spend a pick next year. They weren't going to do that. Now, when you look at 2026, which is going to be a much deeper draft, and you look at what they got, they got a ton of picks, all right? They're going to be able to move up and down the draft board. So the Eagles, next year, they have a 1st-round pick, a 2nd-round pick. They have their own 3rd. They have the Jets' 3rd. They're getting a projected 3rd from the Milton Williams comp pick. So that's 3 third-round picks next year. They have 2 fourth-round picks next year. They've got 1, 2, 3. They're going to have 4 fifth-round picks, and then they're going to have their own 7th. So if you need to go up in the first round, you got the third-round pick to do it. You need to go up in the second round, you got the fourth-round pick to do it. You want to get up in the third round, you got the fifth-round pick to do it. This team is going to be sitting pretty next year. And this was one of the reasons why they didn't want to use picks to move up in this draft. They did try to get Jihad Campbell, and it just worked out that he fell to 31. And as you look at the Eagles, and I said, like, you've seen a zillion of these videos so far talking about each specific guy. But I'll tell you briefly how I feel about some of these picks. And we'll start with, I'm going to start with Jihad Campbell. Obviously, I thought that was the steal of the first round. No way in hell did anybody ever think he was going to be there, okay? So I love that pick. That was an A-plus pick, no doubt about it. Andrew Mukuba, he was my third best safety I had. So once Amin Wari came out, he was the guy that I wanted. It's interesting that his comp is C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who they lost. So I think he's going to fit right in. Ty Robinson, total steal. I think we all know that, and we'll talk more about him in a minute. Mac McWilliams. Now, I said during the stream that this was my least favorite of the picks. By no means am I saying he's a bad pick at all. I don't think that. He could be great. We'll see. I just thought there were a couple guys on the board that I liked at other positions. But, no, we'll see how he is. Small Modun, the linebacker from Georgia. All I can say is, wow, this kid is fast. He's versatile, and he's going to make an impact for the Eagles, no doubt about it. Total steal there. Then you get Drew Kendall, center offensive guard. Listen, anytime they go specifically an offensive lineman with Stoutland and how they basically develop offensive linemen, I trust them. So Drew Kendall, Miles Hinton, Cameron Williams sound like great talents, and I'm sure Stoutland is going to have his way with them. Kyle McCord, the quarterback, not surprised. The Eagles always like to get a quarterback like this late that they can kind of develop. Think Tanner McKee. And then Antoine Powell-Ryland, the last pick of the draft. This may be a total steal, okay? This kid may be a total steal. 16 sacks, I believe, last year. He seems like a pass rush specialist, okay? And they're going to have to develop him. He has some nice size to him. And I think this kid's going to be a very, very interesting pick. We have had success with late picks before. Look at Jordan Mailata, okay? So for the most part, I really like what they did here, okay? They didn't take these guys earlier than they had to. They didn't give up picks next year to get these guys. And I thought it worked out perfectly. Now, to me, the key to this whole draft, okay? The key to this whole draft was the Eagles had to come out with what I thought was at least 2 starters and basically 2 guys, whether you call them starters or contributors, 2 guys that would come in and play and be a part of this team and be on the field this year. You've got 3. You've got at least 3 right here in this draft that are going to play, all right? Jihad Campbell is going to play. I see the Eagles using him kind of like Dallas uses Micah Parsons. At times you'll see him rush the passer. Other times he won't be. He'll be doing other things. I love the pick. Andrew Mukumba, I'm telling you right now, by the end of the year, mark this down, he will be the starter, okay? He will be the starter. He is going to make an impact this year. I think he's going to beat Sidney Brown out, but we'll see. And I would not be surprised now if the Eagles go out and sign Justin Simmons to like a 1-year deal. But even if they do, Mukumba will end up being the starting safety this year, and I love it. A rookie safety is what I want, because now I'm freed up to sign Reed Blankenship to an extension if I need to. Then Ty Robinson. I mean, dude, this guy looks like a stud. The guy can run the ball, play tight end, and he can play defensive tackle, but he's the fastest defensive tackle in this draft. He's got good size. They have him listed at 288 coming out of the draft. The Eagles have him listed at 310 pounds. All right, he looks much bigger to me than 288. So we'll see how big he is, but I think he is the perfect guy to come in and replace Milton Williams and to develop. So now when I look at the defensive tackles, like Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, okay? Jordan Davis, they're going to pick his contract up. That'll be the next shoe to drop we got to watch for next week. But to me, they're showing confidence in Jordan Davis. And this kid can rush the passer. He can also be moved around. He can play in 3-man fronts, 4-man fronts, 5-man fronts. He's very versatile. This was a steal. And he will contribute. He will rotate in this year. So, to me, the point of this draft, you needed 3 guys that would come in and play right away and start. And you got that. This is an A draft. It is, okay? Especially when you look in the context of the talent pool in this draft. I thought the Eagles did a tremendous job. They did. Now, the other thing I have to say about this draft is that even though it was really a heavy defensive draft, the offense may have benefited the most. Because if you notice here, the Eagles don't have a tight end. They did not go out and get a tight end. And then Howie came out yesterday and said that Dallas Goedert is part of this team. So I don't think the Eagles can move on from Dallas Goedert now. Whether they wanted to or they didn't, they can't do it now. They did not get a tight end. And to me, that's a good thing. We're going to get at least one more year of Dallas Goedert. All of a sudden, if you get rid of Goedert, like I said, you have a hole at tight end. You know, you got to figure out how to fill it. Now you got Goedert back, one of the better tight ends. I think the offense benefited greatly from this draft. Okay, and like I said, thank you to everybody who watched the draft with us the last 3 days. It was a lot of fun. I know you've seen 1,000 videos on the draft picks and everything and what people like, what they don't. All I can say is this. What I needed out of this draft was I needed 3 guys, or at least 2 guys that would start or contribute to this team in 2025. I believe the Eagles got 3. They solved the safety problem. They got Jahad Campbell, who's going to be a stud. And then I think Ty Robinson, who's going to develop just like Milton Williams did before. The Eagles right now are rolling. We are stacked with picks going into next year's draft. And I think, there's going to be a few more tweaks with this roster. And I think they're ready to go. I think we're ready to go. And I think we're on the pace to repeat. With that said, take care. Talk to you later, of course. Don't be a dingbat. And remember, it's Howie Vision, baby. We're all just living in it. Let me help you, Cowboy fans. Let me help you. I'm going to give you a division rival's view of what you did. Because I see Cowboy fans going, we closed the gap on the Eagles. We closed the gap on the Eagles. Mark Holmes is actually doing videos. Did Cowboys close the gap on the Eagles? No, not at all. You guys, I don't know what is wrong with your team. It's like the delusion starts at the top with the owner who's 400 years old. No, he's actually 10,400 years old, okay? It's his birthday today. But he acts like he's going to live another 10,000 years. Then it goes to your GM and your front office, then down to your coaches and your players. Delusional. The Cowboys act like they have all the time they need to go out and build a winner. Their draft wasn't bad. It wasn't bad if you're projecting 3 years down the road. 4 years down the road. But to win next year, to have a chance to win next year, okay, I'm sorry, but you did nothing in the draft that scares me. There's nothing about the Cowboys that scares me. You could have gotten one of the few blue chip players in this draft in Tyler Warren, and you passed on it. You passed on it. Why would you do that? That's crazy. Dallas has no explosive players. They have nobody that you're scared of. They have CeeDee Lamb, that's it. They have an aging quarterback. And they go into the draft with no desperation, with no sense of urgency. They act like, oh, we'll worry about 3-4 years down the road. Dak Prescott's going to be, 32 next year by the time the season starts? I thought the Dallas Cowboys, in terms of getting better for next year, blew this draft big time. If Dak was 26 and you're building for 3-4 years down the road, yeah, good draft. But in terms of trying to win next year, nobody sweats the Cowboys. Nobody. They stink. Denzel Washington out.
That's all, folks.
The brother screwed us.